Hello, Chameleon Wranglers. Welcome to this Monday. This is actually, when I'm recording this, late at night, but today has been quite a day. And it started in the morning when I got a nice fecal sample from spearmint. Now, if you're just coming to this vlog, you're going to say, what the heck is this all about? We do a lot with looking at chameleon poop. I know it sounds unappetizing, but we can do a lot to assess the health of a chameleon by looking at their poop. And not only do we know how they're hydrated, how well they're eating, but also we can tell if they've got parasites or not. And so with this sample, I wanted to check to see if there were any parasites. Now, what I'm going to do is take you along with me. So I will set it up, we'll get on the microscope, and then I'm going to narrate the steps that I take. Now, many of you have seen this before, and you're going to see it again and again and again. And I want you to get so familiar with it that it's second nature. So should anytime you decide you're going to get a microscope, you can just pick it up, set it up, and just look at a fecal and you'll know exactly what to do because you've seen it a million times. A million times. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of vlogs. Okay, you've seen it a lot of times. I don't know if I can hit a million. We'll see. Now, but before we get into that, I would like to introduce you to Gandalf and Morticia. Gandalf and Morticia belong to Steve Hefner, and they are a pair of Caluma brevicorn. Caluma brevicorn is a chameleon species that comes from Madagascar. And I got to see, there's a lot in the brevicorn complex. So Crypticum and brevicorn look very similar. A lot of them look similar. But with no further ado, this is Gandalf and Morticia from Steve Hefner. And of course, Steve is working on breeding them and reproducing them. And I will say, brevicorn are amazing creatures. They don't have the flashy colors like panthers, but they have those occipital lobes that can flap. Very cool. And the thing is their personality. They are gregarious. They're just a great chameleon. If you say, okay, do chameleons make great pets? Well, maybe in some circumstances, but within chameleon species, Caluma brevicorn is one of the top ones as far as pet personality. So, very happy to share these. Thank you, Steve, very much for sharing with us. Okay, so now it's time. I'm going to show you me breaking out the microscope, and we're going to do a little bit of a tour of a direct fecal smear and a fecal float.
All right, folks. This is a fecal sample. This is a direct smear from spearmint. And this is, I've not seen this before, so we are going to be looking at it together. And once again, we're going to start at a low magnification. So I'm looking at a wide area here. And what I'm looking for is the telltale signs of nematode eggs, which I should be able to see at this magnification. Now I can go in a little bit more. So I start seeing the shapes. And at this magnification, I should be able to see anything that is suspicious. Now I see that which looks mighty suspicious. It's got that pill shape. But once I get closer, I realize it is not. It's nothing I need to be worrying about. Oh, well, wait a minute. You know what? Let's go ahead and take a look. We've got a river going through there. And this is at the high magnification. And we see some protozoa. The Amoeba E. coli and the flip-flopping protozoa, that thing. Let's see. There isn't the strong infection that I saw before, so I am going to go ahead and give another dose of metronidazole. But here's an interesting thing where you can see the rivers flowing through. So even on the slide, at the microscopic level, there is still all of this movement. There are rivers flowing, there's little mountains, and it's very cool to be looking at this micro environment. So yeah, there are some flagellated protozoa there flopping around, but definitely not as bad as it used to be. But I'm going to go ahead and see if I can knock those out. The problem is, I'm not worried about this level of infection, but the problem is that if he reinfects himself, it could grow bigger than this. And of course, my decision can always be to hold off and continually monitor the situation. And that's the advantage of having a microscope and doing this yourself. If you are working with wild caughts, definitely get a microscope. You can get them for a couple $100 these days, so it's pretty affordable. And then you can do this kind of care yourself. And you may be intimidated by, how do I know what to look for? Well, you're here at the vlog, and you're going to be seeing this on a regular basis, and so you will start to learn just by being around and watching these things. You'll learn what to look for. And now you know what a flagellated protozoa looks like, flopping around like nobody's business. All right, here is the float. Let's go ahead and see what we've got. This is at the low magnification. It's about a little over 10 times. We'll go to 20 times. What do we see? A lot of nicely spherical objects. And whenever we see spherical objects, they are either bubbles, which they are nothing, or else they are some sort of egg of sorts. So, well, while we're here, we may as well take a look at those. I do want to spend more time looking at this higher level for nematode eggs, but let's go ahead and take a look at all those spherical objects. And I am those are the E. coli or E. coli. Not sure how to pronounce that, but those are the protozoa that I didn't know what it was before, and so I had it professionally done at a lab, and it was identified as Entomoeba coli. So we got that, and that is treated by metronidazole, which at the end of this, we are going to go dose spearmint together with a little bit of metronidazole. And for those wondering, this is done under the supervision of my reptile veterinarian, so this is not me just doing it haphazardly. Okay, at this level of magnification, which is, I believe, 90 times, I should be seeing coccidia, if there's coccidia here. So that's an important part of looking. I am happy. I was wondering about these round things, if they were the Emeria. No, Emeria are the other ones. This is, I forget what the other coccidia is. Lots of stuff to remember here. And but one thing I'm not seeing, is nematode eggs. So I'm very happy with that. All right, let's go ahead and do a dosing of metronidazole. All right, so this is the plan of action. I want to give spearmint a dose of metronidazole. To be clear, I'm doing this under the supervision of my reptile veterinarian, Dr. Greek. And so this is not me just figuring things out on my own and just doing whatever. So I now have to get the medicine inside spearmint, and chameleons generally don't like to take their medicine, very much like me. So I understand. Now, good old spearmint
is way in the back of his cage. So we're going to have to find a way of getting him out. First thing I want to do, though, is make a little bit of a deposit into my trust bank. And for those who missed that vlog, the trust bank is where you build up trust with your chameleon. And you do that by mainly giving them great food or having your hand in their area where they are not hurt or annoyed or feel threatened. And so all of these build up the trust. And we need that because every now and then, like now, I have to give Spearmint medication. And Spearmint, of course, doesn't understand that this is for his own good. And so he just thinks that I'm attacking him for some reason. So this is where I'm going to be taking trust points out of my trust account. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a silkworm and see if I can just do one last deposit into the trust bank before I do a withdrawal. And so I'm going to go ahead and give him a little bit of a silkworm, and we can see if he'll take it. I know I can reach in there enough that he can see it. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to be, yes, excellent. All right, so now let's figure out how we're going to do this. So my plan is that I want to get him up on this main perching branch up here. When you have to give a chameleon medicine, at least oral medicine, you need them to open their mouth. And the best way to do that is get them till they're being defensive or they want to scare you away. And you do this by various means. Sometimes all you have to do is put your hand in the cage and they flare up. You can shoot in the medicine and we're good to go. Good old Spearmint, we'll see. We'll see. This is the first, I've given him medication once before, but we'll see where he is now. Now, if they're really being resistant to opening their mouth, I would have to take Spearmint off of the branch and I would have to hold him close to my chest so he grabs onto my sweatshirt. And so I have a nice firm grip to where I can easily coax his mouth open, give him the medication, put him back. But if I can do all that while he is sitting on his branch, so much the better. So my plan is to gently prod him to where he's annoyed enough that he goes up to perch on the main perching branch. All right, so it looks like that is working. So he's up there now. And this is the moment of truth. First thing I'm going to try to do is come up behind him. This is supposed to be like a predator. Now, unfortunately or fortunately, some chameleons adjust to our presence enough that they're not scared of us anymore, that they're just annoyed. And when that happens, they lose that immediate gaping ability that makes medicating them so easy. So if he doesn't gape just because I put my hands coming up from above him, then what I'll do is I'll gently touch the sides of his head. It's kind of like where his ears would be. And sometimes this is enough. If this doesn't do it, which good old Spearmint isn't responding, I'm going to have to go and I'm going to have to put my fingers to either side of his rostral process, right by his nose. And this allows me to get a very good grip on his head so he can't squirm away. Now, it may look like he's in pain, but no, he's not. I'm holding very gently and making sure that there's no sudden moves. And so if I hold him there, there's a chance that he will then open his mouth. And if he doesn't, well, then I've got to slowly coax it open just enough that I can get the end of the medication delivery device in his mouth, just enough to put the metronidazole in his mouth. And then we let him go and hope that all will soon be forgiven, and I'll probably end up having to give him 10 more silkworms before he forgets this one event. And yes, I'm sorry to say, chameleons remember these things, and so you have to be very careful how you stress your chameleon. They will remember, and you will have to pay back that withdrawal from the trust bank. Okay, so we were successful getting the dose into spearmint, and we will wait for a fecal in the next couple of days to see how well we've done. Now, during this time, his body is going to be processing that medication. And so the most important thing is food and hydration. So I'm going to make sure that spearmint gets ample amounts of all of it. So just another day in the acclimation of a chameleon. All right, folks. Well, we went through a lot there. We analyzed fecal, and then we got to the point where I actually gave spearmint some medicine. And so we'll just wait for the next fecal sample to see how well that took. Now, I did a lot of talk about depositing and withdrawing from the trust bank, and that is the amount of trust that your chameleon has for you. And I felt very bad. Spearmint, of course, felt betrayed because, Daddy, why'd you do this horrible thing to me? And so I'm going to have to put in some effort in trying to build our relationship back up. And I went ahead, and later in the day, I want to show you, I went back to try and see if I could patch things up. Aw, spearmint buddy. Oh, hiding back there. Here, this is my peace offering. Let's see if he'll... I can't even find him. Let's see if he'll accept my peace offering. I can't even see him. Oh my gosh, he literally ran away from my hand. There he is. There's his tail. Oh, all right. I'm going to be paying for this one for a while. Come on, dude. Forgive me? Come on, please, please. All right, it looks like I am forgiven. Oh, at least a little bit. And so it looks like maybe our relationship wasn't too terribly hurt, but I'm going to have to keep making up for it. So got lots of silkworms. All right, folks, I want to thank you very much for joining me here for this vlog. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 a.m. And I did everything that I needed to do. And so now I'm going to start setting up my arboreal L enclosure from Custom Reptile Habitats. And you'll see that started tomorrow. And so have a great Monday. Take care of yourself. Be excellent to each other. And I'll see you next time.